The Obamacare replacement plan is something every single person in this room should care about. And let me tell you why. Here's a personal example. Back in December 23rd, imagine this, 2008, I was laid off right in the financial crisis. Healthcare cost me $158 a month. Wouldn't you like that today? How much did Cobra cost? Cobra cost $1,541. Okay? This is why you are going to be very interested if you're a displaced worker in the future between jobs. Same thing if you're decided to hang out your own shingle. You're going to be an entrepreneur. Well, you're going to need to have a replacement insurance. If you're a small business owner, you're going to want replacement insurance because you're going to want somebody from a big company that's top talent and they don't have insurance because you don't offer it. So this is going to apply. Those are some reasons why we all should care. So let's talk about the takeaways. There's three. First of all, we're going to talk about Obamacare. What is it and what are you giving up? Because it's a heck of a lot more than the two things they talk about on TV, which are two provisions we'll talk about. We're going to talk about the repeal law that's in place. In other words, how can you get rid of it? And then the third thing is, what is the replacement plan is what you're going to leave with. Subsidies versus tax credits. Let's use a few props to help understand this. Took a couple of Coke cans from home. Premium, that's what you guys pay. But my buddy Dave, who's a carpenter, his premium went up from $147 to $457. So he's not too happy. His subsidies is based on his income. So the entire plan costs as much as these two cans. But what he pays is the premium. The new replacement plan, use a couple of mini Coke cans. We still have a premium that you have to pay every month, but now it's a tax credit. What we don't know, and I've heard some differing opinions, so facts will change, is what is this tax credit? Is it a tax credit like your car when you buy an electric vehicle and you get your $7,500 tax credit, but that's based on filing taxes at the end of the year and you get trued up? Or is it an advanced tax credit so that your premium's reduced each month? That's something we have yet to find out. ACA provisions, there's two that you love, but there's another one that you like that you don't hear anybody talking about. The two that you love are under 26, your kids can stay on your policy. And then the other one that everybody loves is pre-existing conditions. But there's another one that was a big one, which is the caps. In other words, insurance company, you used up all your insurance up to a cap and then that was it. Okay? We haven't been talking about that particular provision. The other one was in the days before Obamacare, you used to get an insurance policy and you might get something in the mail and automatically the insurance policy says, well, we are no longer covering you. So that was removed. And there's other provisions as well. The individual mandate, this is the one that nobody likes. I don't want to be forced to buy insurance. Make it my own personal choice. Well, let's explain Obamacare using this ancient three-legged stool. This is your business model. Okay? I'm going to force you to buy insurance. Everybody buys it, or you pay a $695 fine per individual, $347.50 per child this year, or 2.5% of your income. That's based on guaranteed issuance. Guaranteed issuance is pre-existing condition. In other words, the insurer can't take on pre-existing conditions unless they have a large enough pool, therefore individual mandate. And then the third leg of the stool is subsidies. In other words, make it cheap enough so that people can afford it, otherwise you won't get the volume. So those are some of the three-legged stools that is based on the individual mandate that is going away in the repeal. The repeal law, what's on the shelf? HR 3762. Sounds boring. It has a great marketing name. When you hear the marketing name, you'll go, I want that. Restoring America's Healthcare Freedom Reconciliation Act. Totally defunds Obamacare because through reconciliation, you can get rid of tax and spend, but you can't, without reaching across the aisle, get rid of some of these legislative things, but you can get rid of the tax and spend. So that is in the shelf. That was vetoed by President Obama in the beginning of this year in January. The repeal law is something that's on the shelf, but what was not on it is any replacement. What do we know about replacement? Well, right now that's outlined on President Trump's site is two things, his vision, as well as what he called healthcare reform, which is based on 7 principles. So let's briefly talk. Replacement plan. What is it? You already know. A couple pieces. What do you know? It's going to be a tax credit. It's no longer going to require the individual mandate. Took my old piggy bank from home, although it doesn't look like a piggy bank. So, healthcare savings accounts. You can now take your pre-tax dollars, put them in this account, and the government can't touch it. It's pre-tax. What's different about it? Right now, you have a use it or lose it if you're on an employer-based plan. This is something that'll roll over from year to year, so this can keep. How does it work? Let's assume you decide, I don't want health insurance. Great. You can still use your healthcare savings account for the rainy day that you need it. Then you decide, I want health insurance. Well, you can use this to pay for your deductibles and copays. So that is one way to alleviate some of the replacement cost. The other one is prescriptions. One of the healthcare things that's being proposed is you can buy prescriptions from overseas. Bingo, I can save money. However, as you can imagine, if you're a pharmaceutical manufacturer, that is a big threat to your business model. So you can imagine there's going to be a lot of lobbying going on here. So something to be stay tuned about. So those are some of the pieces of it. The other one that I just learned is there's going to be one enrollment, and then you have to stay enrolled. You have to stay enrolled. If you don't stay enrolled, then you go off the plan. It's not this annual enrollment thing. And what that means is that if I decide I don't want insurance, I can get insurance when I want it to go onto the replacement plan, but that means I have to be healthy. So you can't just wait till you get sick and decide to buy it. So we covered a few things. I wrote a blog. It's about a 7-page blog. It has some things in there that have not been talked about in conversation. So if you want to learn about, for example, what's really the elephant in the room? We want to demonize the insurer, but at the same time, where's the cost? It's from the healthcare providers and from the pharmaceutical companies. We got to squeeze cost out of that as well. This you can find at infogix.com/blog, or if you just go to infogix.com and go over to the top right-hand corner, you can find it. Thank you.